Hi you guys, in today's video I'm going to do a honey love jar spell. So to just give you some examples of what you can use, you do not have to have every single item I mention, but as well you can also kind of do your own thing and add what feels right to you. So of course you're going to need a jar, a glass jar. Make sure that the lid is metal, because you're going to be burning a candle on top. As well, you can also add some like aluminum foil on the top, which I will be doing later today when I actually work on this. Your jar does not have to be this size nor this large. It could be something smaller. I would probably most likely recommend you use like a baby food jar. I have one, but I forgot it. Well, you know what? Let me go get it. Let me show you real quick. So this is an example of one. Let's see if you can see it here. So I've actually been working on this for over a week, but this would be an example of one. So I've actually been burning a candle on top here. This is that was for a client. And I'm actually working on this one for another client as well. All right, so once you have a jar there, and as well you're going to have to cleanse all the items that you are going to use, I recommend you use some sage. You can also get some sage incense at like any grocery store. They're about like $1, $2. So you're definitely going to want to smudge each item here, which I will do. And then you are going to want to write a petition. So you can use parchment paper, which is what I'm going to use. You could use like a piece of a brown paper bag. A lot of people prefer to go that route because it's something that was available back in the day. It was just accessible. If you don't have any of those or you can't get it, you could literally just use computer paper or regular notebook paper. And you're going to want to write specifically what it is that you want. In this case, since it's a love honey jar spell, you're going to want to put in detail what it is you want to attract. So we're going to be using honey, and honey is to attract energy, and as well it is to sweeten. So you can also use honey jar spells to sweeten a situation. And there's some other things you could like attract success and do like money jar spells as well. I'm going to run the petition later. As I said, this is for a client. For me personally, what I do is I write it in the form as if it was a letter. So I'll say, in my case, I'll say Dear Universe, because that's what I believe in. And then you could just continue on, or you could literally just write what it is you want. You could say, I want a blank, so man, woman, who is generous towards me, who is kind to me, who is loyal, stuff like that, right? So in the form, it's more like affirmations. I do that in general, but I was just giving a few examples. And then make sure you write thank you. Some people don't, some people do, but I like to write thank you at the bottom, because you're writing a letter to the universe, what it is that you want to attract. And for me in general, it's just important to make sure you show appreciation, because if they're helping you out, they want to be appreciated. So you can do this before or after. I normally tend to do it before. So then once you're done writing your petition, as well, color magic, it's not necessary, but for me, I find it very important. So since it's a love spell, I like to either work with red or pink. I hope you can see that. The lighting's a little off. Okay. I like to use red. So I also do candle spells. So I like to use red for love, passion, lust, motivation, stuff like that. And then pink is more like self-love, harmony, love, of course, here. But in this case, I'm most likely gonna go with pink here. Love would be more like if I've done candle spells for clients, like come to me candle spells, or return to me. So that would be for that. So I would use this. If you don't have pink, you could use like a black pen. Pencil is fine, but I like to use Color Magic. So you just write your petition, and then what you're going to do is you're going to fold it towards you, because that's the energy you're going to bring into you, right? Do not fold away from you, because that's the energy that you're putting out there. So you're going to fold towards you, right? Depending, of course, how large your jar is and the paper. And then if you need to fold it again, you're gonna turn it clockwise, because you're bringing in that positive energy. If you are doing a spell or trying to remove something, you want to remove it away from you counterclockwise, okay? So since you're bringing that loving energy, and as well, this can be a self-love jar spell, okay? So towards you, clockwise, towards you, clockwise, towards you, okay? Now what I'm actually going to do is, once I'm done with that petition, I'm actually going to use some string here. You could use some yarn. This is not necessary, but I'm going to use this one. I was looking for red, but I had pink, so I'm going to actually tie some of this around the petition and tie it. As well, you're going to, if this is more towards someone, if you have someone in mind, personally for me, if there's already an existing connection, I feel like it's easier for the universe to attract that person's energy more towards you, versus if it's like some person that you have a crush on social media, you know? I mean, it might work, like go for it, but personally for me, I like to do spells that I know there's an existent connection. As well, you can write inside the person's name, your name, if it's like for self-love. As well, like if you know the person's birthday or even zodiac sign, I feel like it helps because the energy is more directed towards them. Okay. So as I mentioned, you would want to have cleansed this, because you cleanse the items that you use, because if you think about it, when you go buy at the store, how many people already touched it? Like their energy stuck on it. When these items are being produced, a bunch of people are touching it, right? So obviously you don't want to use, I don't know, flowers that were touched by people who were like super depressed or just like angry, because that's the energy you're gonna put, okay? So you would have like cleansed, right, everything. And then, as I mentioned, you know, this, and then you could put that in. So start off with dry ingredients. So another thing that I would use is brown sugar. I just have this in a Ziploc bag of some brown sugar. You pour it in here. Brown sugar does not need to be used, but that's what I'm going to use, and it is to sweeten the energy. If you don't have brown sugar but you want to use sugar, go ahead and go for it, any kind of sugar that you want to use. And then as well, you know, you can add little things, because I'm going excuse me, because I'm going to use other items for a candle spell. I'm not going to add them here, but you can add cinnamon. Cinnamon is good for love. It's good for fiery, passionate energy. It helps to attract that energy even faster. You can use chamomile. You can use lavender if you want to kind of like bring that calming, patient, relaxed energy towards you. Or as I said, if this is for a existing connection, or if you're in a partnership, you can add crystals into it. You can add rose quartz. I was gonna say love quartz. Rose quartz, quartz, anything associated with love. And as well, there's so many things. You can literally go on Google and type in herbs for love. But what I'm going to use is, after this, use a brown sugar. And then I'm going to use basil. Basil is great for abundance in general. It's good for money, success, good luck. So I would sprinkle some of this in here, because I would want that abundance of love coming in. You can use mint. Mint is good for love too, but I don't have it here. I have to go outside and get it. And then I'm going to add a bay leaf or two. I'm probably gonna do two. Bay leaf is good for granting wishes. So then you can like pray over your herbs as well, like set the intention, because each herb has like a particular, not particular, but it's like different like metaphysical like properties to it. So you would pray over it and add to it. And then, like I said, some of these are not necessary, but I would recommend it. So I have some little dried rose petals here, and you would grab some and as well pray over it and put some in there. Try not to go too crazy. I mean, as I said, depending how big the jar is. If it's smaller, just be mindful, because you're gonna add like honey, and of course honey is, you know, thick consistency. And then you can add other stuff as well. I actually got these. You could put confetti if you want. I don't know if you can see it. This one in particular has little pink and gold hearts. Gold is good for success. Of course, pink is good for love, harmony. This one also comes with like rings, so like engagement, wedding. So if that's something that applies for you, you could definitely use stuff like that. So things that represent what it is that you're trying to bring in. And then I have this one as well. These are more hearts and they're red. There's different sizes here. I'll most likely be using the larger ones because of the size of this jar. And then I found some charms here, and they say love. So I'm probably gonna add a couple in there. So anything that you have or that you can find that represents that, definitely go for it. As I said, definitely cleanse the items as well. Pray over it, or you could pray, you know, after a couple herbs, just set the intention of what you're doing. And then you can add glitter. I would recommend you do add glitter, because it makes it like really pretty and attractive, right? Because you're gonna have to be shaking the jar, right? Because you're trying to move that energy. So, you know, it's like a nice look to it, right? You're attracted to it because it looks really nice, looks really pretty. That's the energy you're trying to attract. And as well, like your supportive energies, they like things, you know, they like shiny things. They attract their energy. So for this particular one, I'm going to be using pink and red. As I said, I work with color magic, so just sprinkle some of it in there, nothing crazy. And then these are not necessary, but you can use oils. You can use love oils. There are a bunch of metaphysical shops, online stores, or you could even make your own, you know, that adds special things to bring that specific intention in. So for this particular one, I don't have the oils that I want because, you know, due to shipping and COVID right now, gotta wait. So I'm gonna use what I have. So I'm going to be using success oil because I want to bring success into this. And I'm going to be using another oil here to conquer the energy. And then once you have everything that is that you want here, you can add honey. It does not matter what kind of honey it is, if it's organic or not. Some people prefer to stick with like pure natural organic honey, which is totally fine, but I'm just going to be using this. And I said honey is good to sweeten the energy and it's good to attract energy as well. It's also good for good health, so you want like a healthy balance spell here. And then once you're done with all of that, you're going to want to close it. As I said, I'm going to put foil on top here just because of the material of this. I feel won't be that heat resistant. And then what you're going to want to do is you are going to use a candle. You're going to light a candle on top of your jar, I would say for a week, 1 candle per day. There are different ones you can use. You can use a chime candle. So as I said, I work with Color Magic, so I will not be using this one, but just an example of like the size. You could use white. White is good for, it's a substitute color, so you can use that for any kind of spell that you are doing. So what you would do is you grab a lighter. I thought I had it. Let's pretend it's the lighter, or a match, and you light the bottom and let some of the wax drip into the center, and then you just place it on top and it'll just stick automatically, and then you could light. But make sure you set the intentions as well of what it is you're trying to bring in. Or you could use a candle like this. This is a household candle. Personally for me, like right now, I'm really into the chime candles, but this one works just as fine. So normally these small ones, they last a couple of hours, so definitely keep an eye on these ones. Practice fire safety. And then you can also use a tea light candle. As I said, you can use white. So what I'm actually going to do is actually cut this, because I actually want, you don't have to, but I want that actual candle wax to melt on the jar. It's going to seal it. So when I'm done and prepared with this, I'm actually gonna light the tea light, and it's going to melt over it. And I'm going to do 1 candle per day for 7 days. And as well, some people prefer to not necessarily seal it, and they'll continue adding things every day, but that's up to you. Some people will only work on this for like 3 days. Some people will work on this longer than a week. Some people will work on this stuff for months. So it's just up to you. And I also recommend that you do some research. And when you are lighting your candles, make sure that they are in a safe area, and that you keep an eye on it. I keep my candles on the side right here, so I always see them. So definitely keep that in mind. Let's see. As well, you can use different kinds of candles. If you can't find these or you don't have these, but you have like the tall glass candles, if it has enough space and support, you can add that on top here. I don't want to get up, but I would have used an example there. But yeah, you can light like that. What I'm actually going to be doing for this particular ritual is I'm going to do the honey jar spell, and I'm actually going to use a 7-day glass candle. So as I mentioned earlier, the herbs that I would recommend it to be used for this one, I'm actually going to add it to this candle. So if you guys are interested in how to do a love spell with a 7-day glass candle, you can let me know in the comments. Or if you want a self-love candle spell, I can also show that for you guys. And then after you are done burning the candle for a week, oh, and as well, make sure you're shaking it every day. Okay, you don't have to be like super duper consistent with it, but every time like you pass by it, you see it, shake it, because you want that energy to be moving. And as well, honey moves really slow, so you still want that movement there. Okay, so then once you are done, what you can do is you can bury it with the intention of it growing. So you can, if you have like a potted plant, you can add that in there, or outside in the ground. I've done that before, but personally for me, I don't like doing that. You know, everyone's different. People have their own opinions about how you dispose of spells and how you go about it. Personally for me, if I feel like it's done and completed, I just toss it out. So if you do this particular spell, and if you feel like you attracted the energy that you wanted, you can dispose of it properly. As well, like if you were trying to do like you're trying to release energy, that'd be kind of different. You could set the intention if you do want to bury it, or just toss it out, set the intention. What I do is every time I'm done with a candle spell, I set the intention of what I'm doing. I'm disposing of this because the energy has been released and it's done, basically. Let's see what else. Oh, now that I think about it, I never really thought about it. But if you want, you can also write on the glass. I would still recommend, like do it. Still do the petition, but if you want, you can actually write on it. Like you could write like an affirmation, or you could like do symbols on it, because symbols is like a huge part of spells. I never really thought about it. I might actually do that because it just like popped in my mind. So yeah, so whatever calls to you to do, just do it. Definitely do some research as well, but this is super easy to do and it's really fun as well. It helps with your creativity, and anyone can do stuff like this, okay? We all have, you know, our own intentions and energy and magic within this. All right, I hope this helps. Talk to you later.